Well,
That's it.
You've helped segue, I think, perfectly something you just brought up into our next topic. So, there's a lot of news that happening here, and we're gonna just jump right into it. WSOP, a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna tap into a couple things. We're not gonna go too in depth because some of it's already been touched on, but I want to talk a little bit, get your thoughts on some things. Let's start with the thing that everyone's been talking about, and I kind of got thoughts on how I think it should go for future, but the situation, the main event, the
Okay,
Sims
yeah.
on the rail, the
Yep.
GTO on the rail, the guys on the rail. Here's my thought process on it. First off, it's been done in the past, so it's something that's happened year after year after year. Now, this year they made specific announcements that you couldn't be using Sims at the table, you couldn't be using things, and if you did, you would have a chance of disqualification. And what's funny about that is it's something that I wasn't even thinking about. It was just kind of like whatever, but I used to have on my background here on my
I
phone.
remember that you had range. You had like a range chart in the background.
Yeah, but like I listen, I had it just as it was like a nerdy cool background. I thought
I
right
remember that. Yeah.
because it was cut off. Like you couldn't even see the whole thing. It just looked cool because the way the graph was on my
Mm-hmm.
background. And I was actually at a tournament once, and like my phone was just sitting there, and I wasn't looking at it. And someone's like, "Oh, you should be careful about your thing on your phone." And they're like, "You can get in trouble." Now this was before WSP. I forget what tournament, maybe like down in Florida or something. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? I didn't even think about that." And so then after that, I took it off, just like being careful because I didn't want to get like some random DQ from my background screen. And so they had a made announcement with WSP, and then the situation happens in the main event. Jordan Griff obviously comes runner-up to Jonathan Tomeo, and Jonathan Tomeo had a whole support team behind him, and they were running Sims on breaks, and he would go over and check in, and they would go over stuff with that. My thought is it's got to stop in the future. Like this, it's it. And someone said, "Well, how are you going to stop phones or ear?" I said, "Listen, I just went to a comedy club. Me and you went to a comedy club for my bachelor party, and they made us seal up the bag. Remember they had the bag
Mm-hmm.
seals, like
Yep.
you put your
Yep.
stuff
Yep.
in." So same thing. They'll have someone checking in, checking out. So if you're going up to the rail and you want to watch the main event, cool. You can come in the background, or they give out tickets or whatever they're going to do. And okay, we're going to give you a bag. You got to put all your electronics, including phone, earpiece, AirPods, anything you have in the bag, sealed. And when you leave the area, we'll unlock it and you can get all your stuff back. I mean, it has to happen.
I mean, I think that might be a little extreme about keeping people's phones because, again, when you're on the rail, like think about it like this, right? Non-final table, non-main event final table, right? You can go into like the dome, if you will, whatever you want to describe it, and sit on the rail as just a normal spectator. And like, could people walk to you from the side? Like, yeah, absolutely could. I'd hate to have that be the norm for just the average spectator coming in, sitting on that outskirts and watching it. Because going back to 2 years ago when Butter came, we sat there and watched like Doug Polk play on the main game for like 2 hours, just watching just taking it all in and watching it. But
Yeah.
that's I get what you're saying. I just think that the
So have
rail. Go
what
ahead.
I was saying, so have spectator areas where just like normal people want to hang out, like in the background, like a back area, but the actual like up close rail where people can
Yes,
come and interact,
that's what I
that
was going
area
to
has to
say.
be shut down.
Yes. So I think that, and we're going back years. Like I always, when I think of the rail, the first time I like really loved the rail was when Joseph Hashem made like a deep run. Everyone's like Aussie, Aussie,
Yeah,
Aussie.
yeah.
Like when I think of a rail, right? And I always say this, like if one of my boys makes a deep run, like that's what I envision for the rail. Like
Yes.
everyone, like it's like now a spectator sport where everyone's just like, yes. Like I was totally disgusted by the fact that you have, obviously the pro who like runs ungodly on the rail. Like he doesn't know this dude, and maybe he does, but you know that there was some monetary value involved where those two jokers probably were like, yo, listen, we'll get you where you need to be for a percentage of your
100%.
cut.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
100%.
and I get it when you're playing for that amount of money, like you want to get the edge as much as you can. And like, I think about it like this, right? And this is just a weird analogy. Remember when we went on the game show and we had the note cards, and they were like, all right, give us your phones. We need your phones. And they took our phones, and we still had our note cards, and we were like flipping through our note cards. Like, we were like, yo, I'm not stopping reading my note cards. They took our phones because we couldn't like play the game on their phone, but we had and we made note cards for that reason. So like, I can see when you're trying to play in that sense to win. I mean, shit, $10 million. Like, yeah, I'm going to take
Yeah.
every edge and every advantage that I get. But I think that the WSOP dropped the ball here. They should have stepped in and been like, yo, listen, get it back from the rail. You can only have interactions either in between hands or on breaks, but like it can't be getting coaching on the sidelines. Like there was an allegation that dude had an earpiece in. Like, dude, listen, if the dude had an earpiece in and he was getting like coaching from this, like as he's in the middle of a hand, like, dude.
That was debunked. It was actually McKean's earpiece, I think, that fell out. He had an AirPod in when he
Okay, all
played.
right,
It like
all right.
fell out. So that was kind of
Even
like
so, I'm just like, dude, people are always willing to take whatever edge that they can
oh,
get in a
100%.
situation. I just feel like the WSOP, well, whoever it is now, GG Poker, WSOP, because we don't know, they got to step in and be like, look, we can't be having this because it just dilutes the game. Like, think about it. Like, there's people
Yeah.
out there that make a deep run. They might be an amateur and they might not have that. They might not have an understanding of what sims are, like, or whatever. And now they're at a significant disadvantage because they got this guy who's in the loop and he's got a team. Like, it wasn't like a heads up play. It was like literally like a team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know
I,
it
and
happens, but
I don't think it wasn't anything illegal, but at the same time, WSP had made the announcements before every game that like this was not
mhm,
there. And I'll be honest, and Jordan Griff went on to the podcast. Jordan Griff, who came in second,
yeah.
and he said like, I haven't really thought about. He's like, I thought about it, but I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do. And here's my thought on it. Right, it was very clear that they made the announcements before the games this year, and so Jordan Griff, there's a 4 million different swing between 6 million and 10 million. So,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, even if he puts some kind of like lawsuit against them or whatever, he's probably going to settle. They'll probably settle with him and give him money because it's pretty clear and obvious. Like the announcements were made before every game, it was right in the rules
Mhm.
as well. So the fact that they did nothing about it, I don't think that Tomeo should be taken away or anything like that. I think he's still the champion, is what it is. I think Griff definitely has some kind of financial gain he should be getting from this situation because
I'm sure.
you
Listen,
know,
someone's gonna take the case. Someone's gonna, I mean, these things happen all the time. I'm sure
I
someone is gonna step in and kind of say like, look, this is what we're willing to do for you if you want to go this direction. There's a lot lawyers out there will take any
yeah,
fucking lawsuit if they're looking at any type of score on their end. Um,
Germs had a good tweet this past week. He was like, he's like, how does WSOP deal with these allegations? Sell the company. Like it's
yeah, right. But you know what? Like, it just sucks because, and I say this because I just know it's like, everyone has an argument or a counter argument to it. Like, we're sitting at home playing online behind a computer. Who's to say that we aren't doing the same type of thing? I'm not saying we are, but like there's so much integrity issues in the game already that it actually like puts a blemish on it. Like, you would think like the main event, like it would be the one thing that like wouldn't have like that like negative connotation to it. And like now in some way, shape, or form it does. Like, it just sucks because this is what poker's become. Like, there's so much money in it, and the competition has gotten so much better that it's become like a calculation, like where people aren't playing by field, they're playing mostly by like computation and things like that, where they're learning and memorizing spots based off simulations. And like, I'll never be there. Like, my brain doesn't work on that scale where I'll be able to remember an exact spot and say, okay, I should bet like a quarter pot here or whatever. But the point being is like, that's where some of these guys are at. And it just sucks. It just sucks for the rec player because, you know, you like, how can you fight? How can you battle a computer? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
um, and I know pros are going to say what they want about it because it's kind of affecting their bottom line, but I just feel like the game needs to change in that sense where there's so many things that come out, allegations of cheating on all these different scales. Big name players that you find out were doing shady ass shit here, there, and another thing, and it's like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, you're ruining the game and the integrity behind it. Really, that's the only way I look at it. Like, I love poker. I'm never gonna stop playing, but I might never
yeah,
play those stakes because even if I got there, just because like it just becomes too like cutthroat in that sense. Like, I don't know.
yeah. So a couple other things going on with WSOP. Obviously, I'll touch on. Obviously, they sold. We brought up already. They sold the GG Poker. It's been announced. Now, a couple of good things is they have, I guess, apparently locked in a deal that it will stay in Las Vegas for the next 20 years. So that's not going anywhere anytime soon. But they did,
But see,
however,
it's
announce.
funny. Oh, I'm
Go.
sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No,
So
no, go.
so that was the report that came out once they sold it, right? But I didn't see anything that specifically said it will stay in Vegas and it will stay at a Caesars property for the next 20 years. Like, I'm sure that there's got to be something in that deal for them to have said, like, look, we're going to sell you this brand, but it has to stay within Caesars or something like that. But who knows? Like, yeah, maybe it stays in Vegas, but who's to say it doesn't go somewhere else? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I didn't see anything like that.
I'm confident with GG Poker, and I mean I know they're really trying to get into the online market here in the U.S. But I'll tell you this, man, because like I was out there for the main, and people listening at home might be able to attest to this too, and maybe you even saw it on your side. But for the main, the amount of GG Poker satellite winners that were there was
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous, dude. Like every table had some dude. They all had the same jacket because I guess they got a swag pack when they like won.
Oh,
So it was
nice.
like,
Yeah.
hello, oh, me and Jack were talking about it, dude. Bro, whatever I saw a GG Poker satellite winner sit down or whatever, or like throughout the entire week at all the events I played in, like when I ran deep in the Venetian, there was a bunch there. Dude, my eyes lit up because they were just spew balls, bro. Like they're just out and like just playing wild. And I was like, I'm just like licking my chops, just like, I'm just waiting. So like
Yeah.
they were all over the place. There was a ton of GG Poker satellite winners. So that's good for the game. So the fact that they
Yeah.
have that much put into it, and obviously the main event again broke the record this year, back to back.
Dude, I know.
So the fields are huge, and now that GG Poker has like full control, I could see it being as big or even bigger again next year. So I think it's gonna be good. I just don't know. I don't know because it's an online site. I don't know what they're gonna do, if they're gonna devalue the bracelet even more, like we've talked about many times. Are they gonna be just handing them out every week now? Are they gonna make it
Yeah.
more exclusive? Because with the one thing they've already done, as you saw me and you were talking about it, if you guys don't know at home, in December at the Bahamas event, they are now having a super main event well, I don't know if it's gonna be every year, but this year they announced the super main event, which is was it $25,000 buy-in?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
So it's a $25,000 buy-in. They do have I think they have a guarantee on it. It will be a bracelet event. Um, so I don't know if they're trying to make this the new norm or whatever, but December's a hard time every year, because there's a couple, like the Win and Vegas has different series
Mm-hmm.
going on. So I know a lot of pros are kind of like a toss up, like, do I really want to go down the Bahamas? And there's been a lot of sketchy stories down there and problems with people with their money and things like that. Because again, you're going into another country. I mean, if you're a foreigner listening to this and you're coming to America, then your situations might vary. But there's a lot of issues when you're leaving America, going to other countries with cash and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially large amounts of cash. I mean, it's a $25,000 bind, so you got to get bank transfers into another country. Like,
Cashier's checks, all kinds of shit.
yeah. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean, I don't think I'm kind of indifferent towards it. Like, I don't think it's really going to impact what my experience has been with the WSOP in the sense of like, I don't think it's going to change my impression of what they offer when we are out there. You know what I mean? Like maybe they offer more because they're more in tune with the community. Like I feel like that was one of the biggest complaints about the WSOP is like they weren't really listening to what the players wanted in certain situations. Like, and we can go on and on and on about some of the complaints that they had with first their online software and then kind of like some of the, like you were saying, dilution of the bracelet and stuff like that. But none of that stuff really mattered to me. I just wanted to have the opportunity to go play. So as long as they're going to still have it in Vegas and it's still going to be that kind of like traditional like main like World Series of Poker 2 months 2.5 month like everyone calls it summer camp whatever like as long
yeah.
as that stays consistent, then I'm fine with whatever they decide to do because that's what I look forward to the most. I mean, we got Poker League on the horizon next month.
Yep.
What is it? Season what?
15.
Season what is it? 15?
Yeah, yeah, or 15
Yeah,
or
like
16.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're just that's that's what I live for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Poker league, and then getting my ticket out there, and then just enjoying a week or two. I'll
And we
worry
got
about
we got 6
the logistics
here.
of the bigger stuff. Once
Yeah.
I get to that level, because I'm not there. So
Yeah.